Hi, I'm David Huboi, co-chairman of the Green Committee of the San Benito County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to Going Green, a television show sponsored by the Chamber that celebrates economic vitality along with environmental sustainability. We believe in meeting present needs without compromising the needs of future generations. On today's show, my co-host, Shawn Novack, Water Conservation Program Manager of the Water Resources Association of San Benito County, and I will be interviewing United States Congressman Sam Farr regarding receiving the Organic Trade Association's Public Servant Award. We will also discuss the role of organic farming in San Benito County, eradication measures of the zebra mussels from San Justo Reservoir, and the role of Congress facing infrastructure needs in the Sacramento Delta, and the Pinnacles National Parks designation. Sam, welcome to Going Green.
Great to be on your show.
Great, wonderful for you to be here. A few words about Sam. As many of us know, Sam is the U.S. representative for California's 17th Congressional District, and throughout his tenure, Sam has been an advocate for California agriculture, an outspoken advocate for affordable housing, and a champion of the oceans. And what precipitated this interview is Sam receiving the Organic Trade Association's Public Servant Award for 3 decades of support for organic industry. So Sam, congratulations on receiving that award.
Well, thank you, David. It's quite an honor.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful association.
Great. And my first question then is, what drives your passion for your concern of nature and the environment?
Well, I grew up here in the Central Coast of California, and my whole life, I'm dyslexic, so I had this disability. Didn't really enjoy grammar school when they made you read in front of the class or spell in front of the class, and it was really a problem. But I found I love the outdoors, stayed out of the doors all the time. I was active in scouts and things like that. My dad was very active in going on father-son things. And in the process, I learned a lot about plants and animals and natural things. And behold, I became a biology major probably in about the 6th grade when the first time a teacher told me that I was, good in science. I thought, wow, I'm gonna be a science major, whatever that is. And I ended up being a biology major in college. But all of it is, I think the environment just speaks so loudly to my upbringing. And as I got older and started looking at it, realizing that, and traveling a lot, as you know, I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Latin America and got to see a lot of other countries and other places, and just fell in love with the incredible beauty, not just of the Monterey Peninsula or Carmel where I grew up, but of the entire region, of this incredible meeting of land and water in the mountains and valleys, and how much of that was really part of what we call the quality of life. And I'm fond of saying in Congress, when people say, what do you do in your district? I say, well, we sell scenery, and everything else supports it.
Yeah.
So therein, what is it that supports it? Well, open space. Yeah. And where is most of that open space? It's in private landownings. And what do those private landowners do? They grow cows and they grow vegetables. So you really get interested in the economic sustainability of making sure that these farms and families can stay economically viable. I was a supervisor, we used to zone the land agriculture, but that doesn't guarantee you're going to be able to survive on it. So I got really into it. In fact, that this region grows a lot of organic and started the organic movement. I authored the bill in the California legislature to create the organic standards, the certified organic standards in California. And I had the privilege when I got in Congress of insisting that the national legislation, which hadn't been implemented, get the regulations written. And now we have a national and state program that are incredible, and that industry is growing faster than any other part of agriculture.
Right, great. For the viewers, organic industry and organic farming is the use of the production of food without using synthetic or toxic fertilizers and pesticides. So, and as we've talked before about the city of Hollister, which is the main city of San Benito County, and lowering the carbon footprint of the city with job creation, we talk about San Benito County, and the industry is agriculture. So what do you think is the future of organic farming in San Benito County, and how important do you think it is to the region?
Well, I think, as I stated, I think that the attractiveness of the area is about open space, and not a lot of that is in parks. So it's in private lands. And how do you keep that landowner from wanting to sell to massive development? And if there's any place that's just demonstrated anywhere in the United States of America the negative effects of urban sprawl, it's northern Santa Clara County with the expansion and explosion of San Jose.
Right.
And it wasn't done, let's explode and destroy all this agriculture. It was done at the time for the best decisions of planning. But what we've learned is sprawl is not cost effective. It's too expensive to keep roads paved way out where there are not a lot of people using them. You don't have enough people living to create an effective mass of a school district or transportation system. And the taxes they pay don't really pay for the cost of it. So now the whole concept is urban, as you know, as an architect, it's city-centered growth. And how do you revitalize downtown Gilroy, downtown Hollister? How do you keep a cute town like San Juan Bautista? I think that's a wonderful challenge. But what's lacking on the other half is, okay, what is the rural strategy? What are we going to do about rural? It's not just how do we sustain cities and towns, it's how do we sustain rural areas? And I think that's the challenge. And so all the value addeds, organic, wine tasting, agritourism, I think those can be exploded so that the income from that can really help sustain rural character.
Great, great. You know, and the other thing about the benefits of organic agriculture is the saving of the water, and water has been a hot button topic, you know, for nationwide with the droughts and everything that we're having in the Midwest, and it's going to probably drive the cost of food up because of the corn issues there. So one of the, you know, the regulation of SB 7, where we're supposed to reduce our water usage in 20 years, and Shawn here is our water guru with the show.
That's right.
It's the benefit again is for organic agriculture is not only just, you know, the decreased water contamination, but also decreased water usage. And Shawn has a few questions regarding water. So Shawn?
I do, Carmen. First of all, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's really nice to be able to talk to you in person. And I've lived in Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito County, so you've been my representative for a long time, and I really, hats off for the job you've done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Which leads me, I need to ask for your assistance for our community, and I know you're well aware of these things. One of the things, our local reservoir, San Justo Reservoir, is infested with zebra mussels.
I've been there.
I know you have. I know you have. And we have the notoriety of being the only reservoir in California that has the zebra mussels. But they were first reported in 2008, and since then, plan's been worked out. The San Benito County Water District has talked to experts across the country. They've worked out a plan. They filed the CEQA report, which is a requirement. And the decision to reopen this reservoir rests with the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation and the Department of Fish and Game. So we've done what we can locally. We've invested over $250,000 in this project to try to get it off the ground, and we feel it's kind of stalled with reclamation right now. So I guess I'm going to you to ask you, can you help move the ball along? It's 5 years, and if we wait longer, it's more expensive to treat this. It's going to be costly for the equipment and everything. So we feel it needs to be done now.
Well, if I could still earmark, I'm a member of the Appropriations Committee. What a beautiful opportunity to do earmarks, but they've taken those away. I wouldn't solve your problem overnight. But getting things unstuck, yes, I can help, and I certainly will. I mean, zebra mussels are a huge problem in the United States. They're an invasive species. They are a mussel. They grow like barnacles, but even more rapidly than anything we've ever seen in being able to breed. They have no natural enemy. They're killing the Great Lakes. They just get into areas and just kill it, and that's what's happened here. We don't even know how they were in the Great Lakes. How did a Great Lakes mussel get into San Justo Reservoir is beyond anybody's understanding. But so we got to get rid of it. I mean, it'd be nice to have a predator, some wild animal that would go in there and eat them all. Maybe we ought to sell them as some kind of a zoo specimen. Come on up and see the zebra mussel.
A little cottage industry or something.
I don't even know whether they're edible, but. Yeah, it is a huge problem because the only way you can get rid of them, and you're the expert on this, is you got to poison the lake. You got to poison it. And well, we do that. The fish die, the other things die, and in fact, it's one of those ironies that you've got to sort of kill it to save it. And therein comes all these environmental issues of saying, hey, wait a minute, something that's going to get into a natural water system and kill everything there. We better make sure that doesn't get downstream and kill unintended and have unintended consequences. And what are the environmental impact, so yeah, we're stuck in this sort of environmental review process, but there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, we just need a little more
Bring some more
emphasis
focus.
put on it. And I realize we're a smaller population, but as you alluded to, our agricultural community really helps with the economics for our area, and water makes everything happen.
Well, you look at it, it's essentially a quarantined area.
Yes, it is.
I think if we had a nuclear leak or some other virus that was deadly, we would be doing everything we can to wipe out the spot where it was being caused to make sure that it was safe. And that's what we've got to do with this lake. That water
right.
system feeds a lot of a lot of people drink the water.
We could appreciate any assistance you could give us, because we're kind of at wit's end right now. But that leads me to the next topic, and there's a plan in place with all our water districts over there. We have the City of Hollister, the Sunny Slope County Water District, the San Benito County Water District, and the County of San Benito have a plan they're moving forward in to treat our water to a higher standard, so we have a lot better quality water. Because as you know, we get most of our water for the municipalities through groundwater, which is laden with minerals. So we're trying to treat this to a higher standard, and that way it will help our discharge when we treat wastewater. When it goes back into the environment, it will be a higher quality. Plus, we can get a recycled water out of that, which to me is exciting. With all the problems in the Delta, we'd have control over another aspect of our local water supply. So my question to you, this is going to cost a lot of money. Is there any way that you can assist us try to get some funding going our way with that kind of project? Because this is going to benefit agriculture, the municipalities, and take some of that relief off the Delta area.
Well, Shawn, two responses. One, with all your rich mineral content, you'd think we could just drink your water and we wouldn't need mineral supplements in our diet. We had to go out and buy all these pills to add. We just drink your water and you got it all. But in seriousness, yes, the demonstration that all works and is economically viable is shown right here in the Central Coast. The Marina area, if you drive from Moss Landing to Marina towards the Monterey Peninsula, on your left you'll see the Dole plant, and then you'll see this, you don't see it much because there's trees around it, but that is a huge reclamation. It's all of northern Monterey County, all the Monterey Peninsula and Salinas send all their sewage there. And it's treated and reclamated, and all of the agriculture from Salinas to the ocean is treated with reclaimed agriculture, with water, and we've been doing that for decades.
Years, yeah.
And it's paid for by a loan from the federal government, low interest rate loan to the farmers. They're paying the price to pay it back. So there are that mechanism, unfortunately, is not, that loan for a lot of money like that is not authorized now in Congress, and I'm trying to change that because I think the future is about this. I mean, we're spending money to clean up water and then we just throw it away.
Well, that's the big thing.
Let's get some beneficial use out of it. And I think that this is the new era of wise use, zero waste, conservation, whatever you call it, healthiness, everything is tied up into this. I'll do whatever I can to see if we can. We have to write a proposal, and you know how to do that. And we just start knocking on doors and saying, hey, wait a minute, this look at all the, and frankly, this area has shown, not only this state, but the entire nation, they come here to see our reclamation. We have the largest agricultural reclamation project in the United States, maybe in the world.
And we have good stewards of the land in our area as well. So it's, we have, some of the pioneers of organics have started in San Benito County, and so they're behind this project as well, which is really
I
good.
look forward to helping you. I think that that's not only a mandate for this area, it's frankly for the entire West.
I agree.
And the Midwest, unfortunately, is going through this incredible drought and having this impact on all the commodity products, wheat, corn, soybeans, and so on. But they have a very poor water management system. They don't get the rain, they're screwed. They don't have the Sierra snowfall. They don't have the kinds of hydro retention areas we have for water retention. They don't have the groundwater stuff that we have. I mean, we've got so many diversities, and now added into that reclamation. Hopefully, we can sustain a population in Southern California where there's no water. I mean, it is so. It's an engineering solution, and that's your background, and I'll help you. See
that would be fabulous. Right. But that kind of is a nice segue into the Delta and all the problems up there. Just for the public to understand, I think a lot of people realize that here locally we get a lot of water from the Central Valley Project, and that this was a systems of pipes, aqueducts, and reservoirs that brings water from north of the Delta, which is about 66% of our precipitation happens up there. And it brings it down to the drier parts of our state, which includes San Benito County. And that's been a real boon for us, because before that pipeline came in, it was mainly prunes and apricots and nuts. You drive out in our region now, the diversity of crops is unbelievable, and that's because of that high quality water. However, the Delta has seen some environmental problems up there. We've seen fish stocks plummet. It's an aging infrastructure. It's getting close to 100 years old. We have climate change. We have a growing population. So it needs some significant investment. And I was looking at the Delta Vision Plan the other day. Price tag on it thing's $15 billion. Now, we pass that on to the growers and the ratepayers, it's going to be backbreaker. And I haven't seen anything from Congress. Is Congress, not only the Delta, but across the nation, our whole water infrastructure needs to be addressed. Is there anything in Congress that they're addressing this?
Well, that project you speak of is a federal project, half of it. It's a state project, essentially a reservoir. The San Luis Reservoir is a federal project.
Right.
There's a federal canal. That's all subsidized by the federal government. I mean, in essence, what you're running up against is that there is no free lunch. Somebody's got to pay, and usually it's the user pays, which is ratepayers. That's why there's meters on our houses and things like that. Right now, there's no new money, so you've got to rob Peter to pay Paul for these big projects. And people say, well, why build the high-speed rail when you need to do the high-speed water? Well, there are it's like two different planets. The water money is in water, and the transportation rail money is over in train. And even in that, it's just in rail. So you cannot do that. It's sort of like I don't know, indication in your own budget of saying, well, why don't you take less money to send your kids to college and pay for your new car? I mean, they're two different entities.
But it seems to me there's got to be a prioritization of what is our most pressing needs. And although I'm a proponent of high-speed rail, to me at this juncture, our water needs are much more pressing at this moment.
Well, high-speed rail is cheap compared to a cost of war in Afghanistan.
Very true.
You take 1 year of Afghanistan, you've paid for all these problems. So, we've got to get some American priorities back where let's them spending money on us rather than a failed state country.
Well, I hope you fight for that. I was just reading in the paper today, they're testing a new rocket. It's a X-51A, and it's going to burn and go into the ocean. And it's like, why are we focusing on this? It's like our basic needs need to be addressed.
Well, you know what? That really segues into politics. This is an election year, and elections have consequences. The people you elect make these tough choices. Shall we continue to spend billions and millions of dollars a day in Iraq and Afghanistan a day, but in a month, billions literally? We're spending more in Iraq and Afghanistan than we're spending in the whole state of California. And we have 36 million people here, and we're the 6th largest economy in the world. We're pretty dynamic.
Yes.
And we're failing. Our schools, our structures are failing. Our water sewers,
preaching to the choir here. I know.
We have got to start changing some international military priorities and make it less expensive to maintain a military abroad or be engaged. And we can do that through diplomacy and other things. But a lot's going to determine on how people, whether they vote and how they vote.
I think the average citizen, we feel the system's broken. Doesn't matter who you vote for. So
it does matter who you vote for. You wouldn't have me on your program if it didn't matter who you voted for.
We'd have one representative, but I'm just saying it just seems like a lot of these things, like you can't take money out of one pot to put it into another, even though we see a pressing need.
But you can't do that in your own checking account. You can't say, well, I'm not going to pay the water bill this month because I have another expense, or I'm not going to pay my cable bill or garbage bill.
Well, my car breaks down, I'm going to get that fixed whether I have the money or not.
You're going to borrow it.
Yeah.
And the government does the same thing. We got to spend more money, we borrow it.
And we need to borrow
and
from the
people
government.
are criticizing that.
Exactly. Priorities.
There's no easy choices here.
Well, I'm going to bounce this back to David because we have some good news about our national parks.
Well, yes. I would be remiss without mentioning that Sam's been working very hard on HR 344, which is our wonderful national park monument, Pinnacles, and converting it, transitioning to a national park. And as we all know, it's one of my favorite parks. I love to go there with the craggy, the mountains there with the condors and the caves, and it's very unique. I find it's just a wonderful place to tour, and And although that, Yosemite, it attracts 3.4 million annually, the Pinnacles 167,000 annually by my research. By converting it to a national park, it seems that would attract more tourists through San Benito County, and it would help fill some of the coffers locally. And plus, that designation would celebrate it as a wilderness area, and maybe upgrades can also take place. So I just want to thank you for all your hard work, and with the Pinnacles and being a national park. Hopefully, it's not a done deal yet, but I think it's pretty much in the works now. Wouldn't you say, Sam?
Yeah, I worked very hard on this with San Benito County and Monterey County and their boards of supervisors. I think it's, as you stated, it's really, I mean, you look at it, I started by saying we sell scenery. This allows us to upgrade our sale of scenery. More people attracted to national parks than national monuments, just by the name. I mean, Grand Canyon used to be a national monument. It has a lot more meaning as a national park.
Right.
So will the Pinnacles, because there's nothing in the National Park Service that has a example of the tectonic plate movement. And when you have the Pacific and Northern plates meeting and having this upwelling of rock mass, which is what the Pinnacles are, an ancient volcano, there's nothing in the national park system that says, here's what happens when you see that. So it is really an addition to, as was stated, that Ken Burns stated, that if John Muir were alive, he'd want the Pinnacles in the national park system as an example of the missing book on geology. Right. So that's one side of it. And the other side is just the economic value. We have it here. It doesn't cost us anything to upgrade the title to park, but it does have a significant appeal to tourists. And if more people come there, they'll stop in Hollister and San Juan Bautista and Gilroy and Soledad, where there's an entrance on the west side. And I think just the fact we've got all this attention in the San Francisco media market and in the Bay Area, I've had just people saying, I've never been to the Pin. I've lived here all my life. So that's good. They're starting to say, maybe I'll go out there, and look at it. It's going to be a park. Let's see what it looks like. That's what we want. That's economic development. That's jobs.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of jobs, California has 23 national parks. It creates 30,000 jobs and generates 514 million in personal income. So, parks are more than not just like Wallace Stegner with his wilderness letters to the federal government and open space preservation and what it means to our well-being and having these wonderful venues so we can walk and appreciate nature. But also it means jobs. It means jobs and it's just a precious resource for us throughout the state of California. And hopefully that this will start a precedent, because there are other wilderness areas too that can use some help in upgrading to national park status.
Well, we jokingly say we put this land in wilderness status to protect it from the Park Service, because when you have wilderness, you're not allowed to have motorized vehicles, so you don't cut in roads, you don't do things like that. You can hike in it, but no chainsaws and no motorized. So, it's a condor habitat. You don't want to disturb that. So it seems that it goes hand in hand. I don't think we can just live on a Pinnacles National Park, or in San Juan Bautista is one of the most historically cute towns in the America, much of the West. Or the Monterey Bay and the sardine history of the fishermen. I mean, it's all, but if you add all of those and say, look, you come to this region and you get to see California history, where it began, this great idea of the great nation state of California. It was born in Monterey, born in the Monterey Bay. Santa Cruz has got this incredible history of logging and mining, and built a campus, and built in the Redwoods, the most beautiful university campus in the country. Got the boardwalk and those famous beaches and surfing, and golf and music and sports. We got it all. We just got to get more people to not even come from somewhere else, just come from the neighborhoods and start saying, let's do this. Have you ever been to Parkfield in southern Monterey County?
No, I can't say that.
I don't meet many people. No, it's a town of 14 people.
No.
Wow.
It's the epicenter of all the earthquakes. It's where the USGS, but all there's nobody working for USGS because it's all equipment in the ground that can all be monitored by satellites and other things. But it's an incredibly cute little town that the family who lives there built a restaurant called the Epicenter Cafe, and the Jack Varian Ranch, which you can go horseback riding on and go hunting on. But that's right in our own backyard, and the most amazing thing is driving there.
Right.
Because are we in California? I haven't driven in a car for the last 25 minutes, and this is so beautiful. Where are all the houses? Where are all the people? Yeah. We still have magic spots like that. Right.
So I live here. That's why.
So this is what I think. I think the chamber is what I really appreciate the chamber is they really get it. They understand the value of scenery. The value of homes is because of the beautiful area. The value of the beautiful area attracts people with creative thinking, whether they're artists like Ansel Adams or Robinson Jeffers or John Steinbeck. It attracts that kind of mind. It attracts entrepreneurial capitalists who say, I'd like to live here and create a business. It builds universities.
Right.
It attracts tourists. I mean, it's the forever sustainable economy. Unlike, just having a Starbucks one day or a Costco and then all of a sudden, boom, the business turns and they leave. We want to develop things that nobody can take away from us.
Right.
The only thing we can do wrong is build it out, to do it, not design. You've just won an award for your design and you're sensitive to that. I think that people say, are you anti-growth because you're such an environmentalist? I said, no, I'm really pro-growth. I just want the growth to be aesthetically pleasing, to fit with the communities. I think we ought to build downtown before we build in the valleys. We got to recapture the spirit of our communities.
Strengthen the identity, like in our downtown is a historic downtown. So, that's to me where it all comes from, growth and development. And we just had a previous guest with open space preservation on what they were doing to link the green belts within the urban landscape so that you could work and take a little walk, for a lunch break and go down a walking trail, and it's just...
and that's our watershed, where you get clean water.
You got it.
You get a lot cleaner water off of a open space land than you do off of an urban street.
There's a lot of great ideas by having everything centralized. So.
Right, so there's a lot of ideas and the environmental issues, that there are a lot of issues out there that affect us locally, and to have Sam as an advocate for the environment, on the national level, it certainly does affect us locally here. And so it really, to have Sam working for us, in Congress, it help manifest our vision for, health and harmony. So.
But what is so beautiful is that the people, I'm elected. I'm given a contract every 2 years in election. They can elect anybody who's on that ballot. They've elected me, and I'm very thankful for that. And I go back and I have the privilege of being your voice in trying to figure out, okay, how does the federal government fit in here? How does it help us? We are really a bottoms-up participatory democracy here that petitions our government to right wrongs and to fix things that are broken. Not every congressional district thinks that way, and not every member of Congress has the privilege of representing such a well-educated electorate who are very open to ideas and open to change and open to challenges. So Congress is you go back and you wonder, how are these people living in America? Are they parents? Have they ever raised kids? I mean, what is it? What are they coming from? Because I can't believe some of their attitudes. But you know what? That's what makes this country such a diversified, healthy political mix. Right. But people don't realize how serious it is to vote. This whole thing could be lost, not by Wall Street collapsing, not by us spending too damn much money on war. This thing could collapse because of lack of interest in participating in our democracy. Somebody doesn't make a difference who you elect. I'm not going to vote. All that negative campaigning. That is the danger. The danger is losing this American spirit, which is we elect people to help us solve problems. And if you don't elect us, those problems are going to get solved not the way you want them solved.
Great. Hey, well, Sam, I really want to thank you for appearing on our show today, and for the viewers to get these issues out there, and to know that Sam's working hard, and
you don't
we've got a lot of work to do.
Thank you.
Well, a lot of interest there. A lot of clashes, but they're fascinating.
Well, thanks again, Sam. I'd like to get you back on our show sometime in the future, too.
Well, thank you, David.
You're very welcome.
Thank you,
Sam.
Sean. Really
Thank you.
enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
All right, great.